Oh, the first half of Monday Night Football is still going on, but welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe. Welcome to a Monday live edition of Believers Talk. Again, guys, we try to go live every Monday during halftime of Monday Night Football. So make sure if you haven't already subscribed to hit that subscribe button as we have you covered Monday during halftime Monday Night Football. Thursday, we do a pregame of the game coming up. So that means this Thursday during Thursday Night Football, we will be live a little before halftime, probably leading into halftime, getting ready for the game between the Miami Dolphins and our Buffalo Bills. Again, guys, welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and share this video. Let people know we're here live right after the bye week to talk about Buffalo Bills football. Always enjoy talking Buffalo Bills football with you guys. Hope you guys enjoy it as well, as I will be sharing this video, letting people know, hey, I know the second half of the game is still going on. I get it. The Packers just scored, make it 13-17. But I want to get on here and go live just to, again, the bye week, kind of get into the bye week blues, right? But the week's starting. We can talk injury report, have some injury updates for you. Again, after the bye week, Monday after the bye week, normally it's a light practice, no different today for our Buffalo Bills. But we have some updates for you. Some players still listed as questionable. One name that you might not expect to hear on the injury report that wasn't participating today in the limited practice, but he is on the injury report, and we'll get you that as well. David, welcome to Believers Talk. When what? I don't know what I said. I don't remember one thing to another. When what? But welcome to Believers Talk. I think that's the first time I've seen you comment in a while, so again, I appreciate you being on here. And again, guys, if you were watching live stream yesterday, again, on Twitter, I did a Twitter poll asking you what game you want me to live stream during the bye week. And I did the Seattle Seahawks Cleveland Browns game. Obviously, we had some technical difficulties while on YouTube, so I do apologize for that. But I hope to get that fixed before this coming week, because we will be live streaming the game between our Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. So again, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, guys, hit that subscribe button, like this video. Give me 1 second here as I get a. Of course, people text me as soon as I start going live, right? You said yes, I will be going live this coming up Thursday. The Thursday game at halftime or around halftime, probably a little before halftime, to discuss the game between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins this Sunday. I normally do that the Thursday before the game around halftime of Thursday Night Football. I go live and we start talking about the game a little bit. I know that some people like this Thursday Night Football game. I'm not the biggest fan of them. I feel like a lot of them are letdown games. So I go live during halftime of the Thursday Night Football game to preview the game between the Buffalo Bills and their next opponent, which in this case would be the Miami Dolphins. Hey, King Cam, how you doing? Welcome to the broadcast again, guys. Welcome to Believers Talk. We will be talking through halftime of the game today. Again, currently 13-7. The Lions jump out to a lead on the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay just scored a touchdown to make it 13-7. Green Bay will get the ball to start the second half as well. So I'll be sharing this video now. Again, welcome guys to Believers Talk. I'll wait till some people get in here. Again, we're going to talk about injury updates, some injury updates going on. We have a new player on the practice squad. We can talk about him a little bit. Trade deadline coming up at the end of the month. We'll talk about that and just what to expect now that the bye week's over and the Buffalo Bills' second half of the season. What do we expect as far as a playoff push? What do we expect from individual players? Everything that you want to talk about Buffalo Bills, we'll do right here. Also answer any questions that you guys have in the comment section. So go ahead, leave a comment. Happy to answer any questions. Like I said, I'm going to share this video. And if you've been around for a while, you know I can't do two things at once. So I'm going to type this out on Twitter as we discuss what to expect from the Buffalo Bills in the second half of the season. Hashtag Bills football. Again, just typing this on to sharing it on Twitter, guys. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and share it as well. Let people know we're here. I guess no trades for deadline, or else they would be moving on it. And we'll talk about that a little bit. We know Brandon Beane always has his ear open for potential trade candidates. I think we might hear something, and I'll tell you what I'm thinking in a moment here. But yeah, you would think that the bye week would be a perfect time for a trade if we were going to do it, but just nothing heard as of yet. So give me one. And we also want to talk about don't forget about the Buffalo Sabres either. Sabres are 5-1 now after a win today. They won 4-0. So great job by them. Good start. Now we know last year what happened once we got off to a good start. Remember, we won 10 straight games in November, and that just led to a bigger disappointment towards the end of the season. But hey, you can't be upset about 5-1. Ralph Krueger looks like he's doing a pretty good job there for our Buffalo Sabres. So if you are a Sabres fan, again, happy to see them 5-1. If you're not a Sabres fan, let me know in the comment section, who are you a fan of? Why are you a fan of that team and not the Buffalo Sabres? I know the Buffalo Sabres have led to a lot of disappointment over the past few seasons, not making the playoffs in the past 8 years. Hopefully that comes to an end this season. Might surprise some people, even myself. You saw the prediction video before the season started. I actually had us finishing, I think, 5th in the Atlantic, which I am just out of the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. Still very early in the season, but 5-1 is a good place to start. But again, guys, if you just joined me, welcome to Believers Talk. Anthony, let's go Sabres. How you doing? Why are they the Sabres? Your guess is as good as mine. I would love to pretend to know the answer to that, where they got their name from back when they first originated. But I honestly don't know that. But you can probably Google it. In fact, since we're all on here, why not just have a good time for old time's sake? And we will ask Google how the Buffalo Sabres got their name. In 1969, owners Seymour Knox and Northrop Knox, maybe I'll name my next son Northrop Knox, wanted the team's logo and name to be unique. Bison was a common choice for Buffalo sports teams, but Knox wanted something different. Because of that, the organization held a Name the Team contest where fans could submit suggestions for the team name. The winning choice came from Harry Cole, a Toronto filmmaker, and the Sabres have kept the name ever since. So there you go. It's as simple as that. It was a contest by the owners in 1969 of the Buffalo Sabres. Actually, when Piano Wits welcome playoffs. You crazy, right? You play crazy talking about playoffs right now. Only week 7 of the NFL season, but we might be there. Nice the NFL gave us 3 bye weeks in week 4. Yeah, I mean, hey, it happens sometimes. But wait, 3 bye weeks in week 4? We had 3 bye weeks in week 4? I thought we only had 2. Oh well, we'll see. But let's go Sabres. Yeah, I'm tired of the Patriots winning. I have lots of Pats fans at school, and they talk so much crap. I believe that. Hey, David, happy to do it. Happy to do it for you. If you have any questions, like I said, leave them over in the chat. If I don't know the answer, I'll find out the answer. And you know, again, if I don't know the answer, I always like learning more information about Buffalo sports. It's just a good way to do that. So I gave you the answer there. I'm happy to talk about the Buffalo Bills again. A lot of you join me now. Hopefully more will join me at halftime of the Monday Night Football game. Currently the Lions up on the Packers 13-7. I think we're getting ready for halftime here shortly. So we'll see how that goes. But again, guys, thank you for joining me on Believers Talk. I want to talk about the second half of the season with you guys. I don't know why, and maybe someone can answer me. When I share on Twitter, the thumbnail is of my previous video. I don't know why that is, but that's okay. No big problem there. The actual bye week, the Dolphins and the Redskins are all bye weeks. Yeah, actually, yeah. So you have the bye week, and then you have the Dolphins, and then you have the Eagles. Again, guys, I'll be at that Eagles game, so I look forward to being there, hanging out with some of you all in Buffalo. I'll be going to the autograph signing. If you watch #Sports, they talk about the autograph signing they're going to on that Friday and Saturday. I'll be there Saturday, at least I plan to be there Saturday, with both Paul and Mario from #Sports. So if you guys can hang out there, that'd be awesome. That'd be a good way to hang out. But we'll definitely be doing some videos from on location, and we'll have a good time there. Get some autographs, have a good time with some current and former Buffalo Bills players, and have some interaction with you fans. So I look forward to that. Going to go to the Eagles game, of course, that Sunday. And then the following week, we have the Redskins. So we're going to start off by just going over our second half schedule, right? So the Buffalo Bills' second half schedule is going to look like this. Right now, again, this week, we're getting ready for the Miami Dolphins. Again, I will preview that game this coming up Thursday the 17th, I believe it will be. During halftime of Thursday Night Football, talking about my keys to victory. Again, you don't want to look past anybody. When you look past the team, what happens is what happened to the Dallas Cowboys against the Jets this past Sunday. Are you going with the same people from last year? No, I am not. One of them is going to be the same. My cousin's going to be with me, but I'm going with his dad and his sister. Last year I went with my dad and my brother, so might actually be with some new people. Have a good time. And I think the four of us are actually sitting together. Last year we had to do some weird things. We had 2 seats in one section, 2 seats in another section, and now this year all four of us got in the same section. And next to each other. So I look forward to that. But so this coming week, of course, we're playing the Miami Dolphins. The following week, like I said, October 28th, we will be playing, or 27th, I should say, we will be playing the Philadelphia Eagles. Then after that, we have the Washington Redskins. And then November 10th, we are at the Cleveland Browns. Another thing is we have 3 straight home games, guys. So that's pretty awesome coming off a bye week, having 3 straight home games. Now it makes the end of the season a little more brutal. 5 of our last 8 games are on the road, but it's nice to have those 3 home games back to back to back. So then we're at Cleveland, then at Miami, and then we play Denver in Buffalo on November 24th, and that's before that Thanksgiving game at Dallas. I'm really looking forward to that one. Again, I'll be live streaming that right here on Believers Talk, so we want to make sure that you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so it notifies you when we go live. We not only go live for the Sunday games, either myself or Hashtag Sports. Again, Believers Talk teaming up with Hashtag Sports to give you the best 2019 play-by-play reaction to every Buffalo Bills game. Also, Believers Talk teaming up with BewareTheStampede.com. Go to BewareTheStampede.com for all your Buffalo Bills news. It's your one-stop shop for Buffalo Bills news. Again, a fan page ran by some Bills fans, some good writers on there. We're gonna have some blogs on there soon, and also, of course, you can find my videos on there as well. Including Buffalo Bills information and a countdown to every single Buffalo Bills game. So if you're getting that blues from the bye week, you can go into BewareTheStampede.com and it says how long you have to wait until that Miami Dolphins game. So anyhow, Thursday, Thanksgiving, November 28th, at Dallas, right? Then Sunday, December 8th, we're playing against Baltimore in Buffalo. Then we have 2 straight away games, Sunday, December 15th, and then week 6 season against the New York Jets, or as I like to say, the New York, New Jersey Jets. Hopefully we get another win like we did in week 1. So that's the remaining schedule. And guys, if you look at the schedule, I believe it came out that we have, by strength of schedule standards, we have the easiest schedule remaining of any team in the NFL. And you look at this schedule, again, you don't want to look ahead, right? You're always scared to look ahead because you'll lay an egg like Dallas did against the Jets, and all of a sudden you're a little behind where you thought you would be at a certain time. We need to win this homestand. We need to win it, and I said this in the preseason when I did my preseason predictions. We need to win at least 2 out of 3 of these games. Now everyone would look at the Dolphins and Washington game and say, okay, those are the 2 wins. But I don't care where they come out of. I mean, if we go 3 out of 3 in this homestand, that'd be unbelievably great. I mean, again, you're talking about being 7-1 at that time. But if we can win at least 2 out of 3, then I think we'll be all right going into the games against Cleveland and Miami, going into that final stretch where we hopefully make that playoff push. Again, good playoff teams. Good teams that turn into playoff teams know how to win multiple games in a row. It's hard to win more than 1 game on the road, as we saw weeks 1, weeks 2 was tough, even though it was in the same location, to win back-to-back games on the road. Hopefully we do well in that Cleveland and Miami switch. Hopefully we win both those games. And then it's Denver at home, and then it's Dallas on a short week in Dallas. So that's probably the toughest game of the rest of the way, is that Dallas game, that Thanksgiving game. And then, of course, always New England week 16, always going to be a tough game. But yeah, King Cam, we need to win at least 2 out of 3 of those games, right? You're talking about Miami this week. Need to win. Again, we cannot look past Miami. We can't. We just saw them lose by 1 point. I know it was against the Washington Redskins, but we just saw them lose by 1 point, gain some confidence in that game. Talk about Josh Rosen getting benched to Ryan Fitzpatrick. Josh Rosen come back into the game, so who knows how he might react to being benched behind Ryan Fitzpatrick, but we know he's going to be the starter for the Miami Dolphins come this week against the Buffalo Bills. Hopefully this Bills defense has him going crazy, as we have most of the quarterbacks so far this season. Hopefully we have him make some mistakes that he's been making so far in his young career. But hopefully we have him make some more mistakes, leave the Buffalo Bills plenty of opportunity to win this game. I think we're 16.5-point favorites right now. I'd love to see us cover that spread. I personally don't see it happening. I don't think the Bills normally do well with big spreads, and this is not the team. As Mario from Hashtag Sports pointed out, in one of their videos. This is not the type of team that's going to blow a team away unless it comes from a defensive or special teams score. We're not built that way. We're built to run the ball, win time possession, score on methodical 8, 9, 10 play drives that end in scores. And it'll just be hard for us to create the 16.5 point spread. We are fixing to deal out some punishment. I don't see anybody stopping us. I hope you're right. I hope you're right, David. I would love to see the Buffalo Bills make a deep run in the playoffs. Again, if you were with me in the preseason, I said, this year the playoffs aren't expected, but it would be a great plus because next year I expect not only to make the playoffs, but to win the division. I think next year is the year Bills fans should really be looking forward to. But this year to make the playoffs, get some experience for those young guys so we can make an even bigger playoff push next year would be awesome to see. Jets look tough. They did look all right against Dallas. How much of that was Sam Darnold coming back? How much of that was good play calling? How much of that was Dallas overlooking the Jets? I don't know how all gets involved. I personally got sick and tired of hearing Tony Romo talk about how good Sam Darnold was. I mean, I saw Sam Darnold make some pretty bad throws that Crowder made look pretty good. Also, you saw that one interception in the fourth quarter. Was not a great throw either. But Tony Romo just kept talking up Sam Darnold because he's been gone for the past 3-4 weeks. So it's good to see him back on the field if you are a Jets fan. But again, you have to relax on expectations just because again he still hasn't played a full season of football with the New York, New Jersey Jets. Again, Josh Allen just completed his 16th start last week. We know that Sam Darnold was out a lot in his first year, was out with mono this year, so he's still looking to get to that 16th start. Still young quarterbacks have lots to learn, and hopefully that Bills defense can take advantage of that come week 17 if we need that win. We need to respect all opponents, absolutely. We cannot look over the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins still have some playmakers, still have Cameron Drake, still have who's the defense back gave us trouble last season in that first game. Again, you look at last season, that first game against Miami, we end up losing that game. Now we get our revenge week 17, Howard, right? But we do look good. Jets look good, but Bills' offense is starting to gel. I hope you're right. If you watch my Josh Allen episode, you heard how he did the first 8 weeks compared to the last 8 weeks. Now he's done so far in 2019, if you look at the numbers, minus the turnovers now, of course, but if you look at the numbers, they're getting better and better each week, each time period. Again, he's over, I think, 240 yards per game this season. He threw for over 250 yards twice already this year, which is more than last season. Has completed 60% or more of his passes in 4 games this season, which is already 2 more than last season all total. So obviously doing a lot better this year. Obviously we have better weapons this year too. Let's not lie about it. Talking about a team that does not have a single wide receiver other than Robert Foster that was on this team last season. You have Brown, Beasley, just some good overall weapons. And speaking of wide receivers, the Buffalo Bills did just add another wide receiver to their practice squad. So I'm going to talk about him in a second here. And talk about what this means. We added Jordan Beasley to the practice squad, and that kind of surprises me because didn't we just add Marcus Easley to the practice squad as well at the wide receiver position? Brought Duke Williams, right? So we didn't have him on the practice squad, but that means we have 2 wide receivers on the practice squad. And as I was talking about with David earlier, we have the trade deadline coming up, right? The trade deadline is coming up October 29th. And I look forward to the trade deadline because you never know what is going to happen. But as the trade deadline approaches, I won't be surprised if we do go after a wide receiver here. I know Cincinnati is saying that AJ Green is not available, is not going to be traded. I know that Minnesota is talking about Stephon Diggs saying he's not going to be traded. But there are more than 2 wide receivers in the NFL, and B, these coaches are going to say the right thing until the player is gone, right? They're going to say this player's not on the trade block in front of the media because they don't want the player knowing that they're on a trade block because then they might ask for a trade. Who knows what would happen at that time? So just because the coaches are saying that AJ Green and Stephon Diggs are not currently on the trade block, that doesn't mean that they're not on the trade block. Someone comes and gives them the right offer, and that might be the Buffalo Bills. Then they might be open to a trade. Again, Now, I love how Brandon Bean, our GM, is able to set the market for a player, right? He'll set the market where he thinks it's worth it. He's not willing to offer more than that. I think he's done a great job this year, or so far with the Buffalo Bills at setting a standard for what he has for a player in mind, and he done it during the draft. He always does this during draft. He says, no, that's too much. I think it's more worth this. And if the team's not okay with that, then he says, okay, we're moving on. We know that during the offseason he called about Antonio Brown. We know that trade might have been close to coming together until Antonio Brown had it nixed by his agent, things like that. We know that they've been looking for a wide receiver. We've heard rumors of Stephon Diggs. We've heard rumors about AJ Green. I think we might still go after a wide receiver before the trade deadline. And it might be a guy that we haven't talked about yet, right? It might be a guy that no one's heard about. It might not be Thielen, or I'm sorry, it might not be Diggs. It might not be Green. It might be somebody else. And who that is, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not, Nostradamus. I'm not trying to predict who it's going to be. But I think that that's something we have to look at. Why would the Buffalo Bills add a second wide receiver to the practice squad again? I have to bring up Duke Williams. Talking about 6 wide receivers on the squad currently on the active roster. You talk about Beasley, Brown. Again, Duke Williams is on this. McKenzie is here. Andre Roberts is here. And then, of course, Foster, right? Those are our current 6. Who knows? Who knows what would happen if we do trade for a wide receiver? But I won't be surprised to see that happen again. Trade deadline October 29th. So you still got about 15 days before the trade deadline. 2 weeks is plenty of time to work up a trade. Let me get to some of your comments here. Allen 8-1 when he throws 1 or no interceptions. Yes, that's a great stat. We need to have Allen, again, make less mistakes. We saw the three interceptions against New England. Now, we did see the one bad throw against Tennessee, but overall in that game, I thought he played pretty well. Again, shows up in that 71.88% completion percentage, best percentage so far as a quarterback in the NFL. But he does still need to do better, still some room to grow, still needs to know taking a sack or throwing the ball away isn't always the worst thing in the world. Now, he did say in the Cincinnati game, I believe it was, he was trying to throw the ball away when he kind of threw it up for grabs, turned into a pick that was ran back inside the Buffalo Bills red zone. If that's the case, then, those things happen. Sometimes your arm gets hit as you're releasing the ball, can't control where it goes. But maybe that means you make that decision a split second earlier. Again, football, game of inches. And in the game of inches, game of seconds as well. So you need to process that a little bit quicker, throw that ball away before it becomes an issue on the field. David, I know what's going to happen. Patriots are going to go get everybody while we sit on our hands. We've seen that happen in the past, right? But the Patriots aren't going and getting big name guys. They rarely go out and trade for the big name guys. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Patriots focus on offensive line help. And that's something that the Buffalo Bills, as we keep getting healthier, that's something the Buffalo Bills don't really need to use. I think the Buffalo Bills are relying on. I think the Buffalo Bills have some good offensive line depth. And what we've seen from these injuries is that that the Buffalo Bills do have good offensive line depth because, basically we had a lot of second string offensive linemen in there against Tennessee Titans in the fourth quarter, and what happened there was we just scored a touchdown to win the game. So I think we don't need to focus on offensive line, so you might see some offensive linemen going to New England, but that's not something that the Bills really need, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the Bills not go after them as strongly. So I did want to get to the injury report from the most recent injury report from today, the post-bye injury report. Monday's workload, like I said, always light. Monday after a bye, you come in, you just do a light workout, you do some light running, and you don't do much as far as hitting in these light workouts. But they did show up to practice today, and everyone was a part of practice minus one player, and that's someone we really haven't talked about being on the injury report, and that's Matt Milano. Matt Milano was seen on the sideline doing individual drills, but he was not seen practicing. Matt Milano has a hamstring injury, so who knows where he is in that process, and we do know about those soft tissue injuries. We just saw it with Devin Singletary. Those soft tissue injuries tend to linger. And we just aren't sure what to expect as far as time out for Matt Milano. Again, if you watch hashtag sports, this was an issue that Paul brought up as far as the depth at linebacker, and that might become an issue here if this Matt Milano injury is more serious than what they initially reported, and he might miss a game or two in the process. But as far as everyone else, Mitch Morse, Tyler Croft, Robert Foster, Teron Johnson, Devin Singletary, all participants in practice. So even Ty Nsekhe was a participant in practice. Now they're all still listed as questionable, so I'm not going to sit here and say that they're all going to play, but they were all there at practice. Again, the only one sitting out was Matt Milano. Was going to guess Tyler Croft. Tyler Croft did participate in practice. He did. But again, how limited was he in practice? Will he be ready to go come this Sunday? Will he have another setback? I think that this Matt Milano injury, if it's serious, could cause some problems. We saw it cause some problems last season at the end of the year after he tore his ACL, I believe it was, and he was out for the season. We saw our run defense get a little bit worse, and we saw us not able to get as much pressure on the quarterbacks last year when Matt Milano went out. So hopefully it's not that serious. Hopefully it's just some tightness and he'll be back on the field in no time. But if it is a serious injury, that does concern me going on the rest of the way. Again, guys, thank you for joining me on Believers Talk. If you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and again, let me know what questions you have in the comment section. Calvin asked, what about Terrell Dotson? Again, Terrell Dotson listed as questionable. He did participate in practice today, however. So like I said, the only one who did not participate in practice was Matt Milano. But Terrell Dotson did participate. He's still listed as questionable. Again, we don't have to be 100% transparent with our injury report right now. We can hold off a couple days. We really won't know till Wednesday or Thursday exactly extend the injuries. And guys, like I said, I will be live Thursday, halftime on Thursday Night Football. And so far this season, I've tried to come on here on Friday, post a video going over the injury report on Friday, a little bit closer to game time, so we know what to expect come Sunday. On Sunday, I normally try to get on here for the live streams. I try to get on here a little bit early, go over the inactives with you as well, so you know who's inactive for the game coming up. So I plan to do that this Sunday. Again, this Sunday I will be live streaming both here on YouTube and on Sportscaster. Again, hashtag sports, Believers Talk, trying to give you the best play-by-play reaction coverage of the Buffalo Bills this season. So I look forward to that. I'll also Believers Talk teaming up with BewareTheStampede.com. So check out BewareTheStampede.com for podcasts, for some writings on there, and then also you'll find me on there as well. So again, appreciate their support this season. CR, go Bills. Absolutely. I look forward to the Buffalo Bills having a good year. Again, already 4-1 at half. The game is 13-10. Packers score a field goal right before the half to make the game 13-10 at halftime between the Lions and the Green Bay Packers. So I hope to have you back there before the start of the second half. But I want to go over the schedule with you one more time, and let's talk about games that we feel at this time are wins for the Buffalo Bills, right? You look at the Miami Dolphins, that should be a win. Again, beginning of the season, I said the Buffalo Bills should go, or I predicted them to go 11-5, right? That was my preseason prediction, and we'll see how we stack up right now. Maya broke his tibia or fibula last year, and yeah, the defense suffered from his loss. So yeah, he broke his bone last season. So all right, week 7 we have the Miami Dolphins in Buffalo. That really should be a win. And again, I don't want to look past any opponent, as CR said earlier in the chat. You should never look past the team. Again, you watch the Jets Cowboys game this past Sunday, you see why you should never look past the team. Now I know Sam Darnold came back. I know it was in East Rutherford, New Jersey, but you still have to have that preparedness going into a game, even against a team that still is winless and it's at home. So you need to be ready for that game. And there's no reason not to be at 2 weeks from the bye week. Then you go and play the Philadelphia Eagles. That could be a toss-up, right? The Eagles losing to Minnesota this past week might have a little bit of desperation on their hands, as they're 3-3 right now, tied for the division lead with the Giants, or with the Cowboys, I should say. And they play the Cowboys this coming week, so obviously going to put a lot into the game this Sunday, and then who knows what they'll have left for the Buffalo Bills going to Buffalo. But let's say for argument's sake that's going to be a loss. Frank Gore revenge game against the Dolphins. I hope he has 2 of them this season, as we play the Dolphins twice, of course, and rushes for over 100 yards in both games. We're probably going to pound it a lot. Leaks 1961 asked, is Singletary good? Again, Singletary practiced today, but again, he's still listed as questionable moving forward this week. But we know he was part of practice. He was running pretty good out there. Didn't look to be bothered by that hamstring injury at all. But we'll see how the Buffalo Bills mark him, because again, I think the signing of Sonoris Perry does leave to question how ready is he going to be at the start of the season. I think that's a good question, or at the beginning of the coming out of the bye week. Why would we sign another running back if we weren't sure about Devin Singletary? But again, now we have two running backs who used to play for Miami, Frank Gore and Sonoris Perry, back in the backfield. Maybe they'll have some revenge in mind. We just saw Frank Gore revenge game by Pianowitz. Maybe they both have revenge in mind, and they both run for over 75 yards in this one. That'd be good to see. What do I think about bringing back Zach Brown? Do you think he's still got what gas in the tank? Well, Major, I mean, again, we know that he was just released, right? I'm sorry, was he released or are they shopping him? I forget what I read. I know I read about him not too long ago. So let's see. What did I read? Talib's head IR. Eagles release Zach Brown. So yeah, so we know now that he's available. Could we see them bring him in, especially if Milano's injury is serious? That could be potential there. And we know, again, a reunion with the Buffalo Bills. Depends how much he fits Leslie Frazier's scheme, however, right? We know that it was a previous regime when Zach Brown was here. So we'll see how much he fits Leslie Frazier's scheme. But again, it gives you a guy who might be available for a couple weeks while Milano is recovering from the hamstring injury. Just gives you that relief, right? Gives you that maybe a little bit more depth, as Paul's scared of over at #sports, to cover while Milano's out, if that be the case. We know he's a little bit older, but probably has some gas left in the tank for a few weeks, and we'll see how that goes. So, yeah, I think that you can look at a guy like Zach Brown and see if we decide to sign him. Why did the Bills look at Jay Ajayi? Calvin Ashley asks. Jay Ajayi still has some miles left. I ask him, why didn't they look at Jay Ajayi? They might have. But when you're looking at running backs, Sonoris Perry was here in the offseason, so that means he knows our scheme a little bit better. Sonoris Perry has a different skill set than Jay Ajayi, and that might be what we're looking for. Jay Ajayi would maybe do a better job if Devin Sinclair wasn't in the game at all. But we've seen that we can lean on Frank Gore to be the starter, so we don't need a starter really. We just need someone to take the load off for Frank Gore. Jay Ajayi is someone who could definitely do that, but we also know Jay Ajayi's injury history, and we have a lot of guys on this team that already have some sort of injury history. We talk about Mitch Morris, we talk about Tyler Kroft, we talk about some of these other guys already have some injury history. We might not be able to afford another guy who has that type of history on this team as well. So you look at Sonoris Perry, again, played here with the Buffalo Bills during the preseason, during training camp, so he knows the scheme a little bit more. So you go pick him up and see if he's looking to play still. Obviously he is, and give him a shot. If the coaching staff liked him, give him a shot. What's the worst that can happen? Again, you don't want to have 3 Dolphins running backs on your team, however. Dolphins didn't do that great last season. There's a reason for it. And again, what does Jay give you that you don't already have? And then Brown played well a couple years ago. Yeah, no, he did. He really did. And I'm not saying anything against Zach Brown. But don't get Zach Brown confused with Preston Brown either, who's over in Cincinnati right now, I believe it is. But Zach Brown did play pretty well for us in Buffalo when he was here. Has played pretty well. Has been a little bit of a journeyman here in the NFL as of late. And has played overall pretty well. So maybe he does have some gas left in the tank. Maybe he could do something for our Buffalo Bills. So we're looking at the schedule for the Buffalo Bills, again, going over games. Again, you don't want to look too far ahead at the same time. It's nice to kind of predict how they're going to do the rest of the season. Again, we should beat the Dolphins at home. You can give us the loss against the Eagles. Just it's a toss-up game. I'm just, for argument's sake, going to give us that loss. Should beat Washington at home. The game at Cleveland might be a tough one. Cleveland has to sit on a loss to Seattle a little bit because they have a bye week. Then coming out of the bye, I'm not sure who they have, but then they have us next. So we're their next home game. They have New England and then Denver, both on the road, I believe it is. Now that I think about the schedule from yesterday, they have New England, then Denver. Then they come back home. Who knows what the record's going to be when they get to that game? But I give Buffalo a slight edge in that one. Baker Mayfield not doing as well as he did last season. probably gets a little bit confused by our defense. We get the win, so we're 3-1 after the bye. At Miami again, should be 4-1 versus Denver. Denver is always tough at Denver, right? We've seen them play a lot close games at Denver this year, but I think we can win that one. And then we lose to Dallas at Thanksgiving, so it gives us 2 losses on the year. That makes us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 2 after the bye week. Then against Baltimore in Baltimore, I don't like that matchup for us. 5-3 at Pittsburgh, I think we can win that one. And then at New England, I don't like that matchup for us. And then of course the Jets should go 7-4 the rest of the way, which puts us exactly at 11-5, which is where I had that. I think that's giving a couple toss-up games to the opponent just for argument's sake. So the more Cleveland loses, the more Mafia will be at the stadium. I know that Bills Mafia is strong, especially in like the Erie, Pennsylvania area when you're heading over to Cleveland. I don't know how strong it is in Cleveland as much, but hopefully we have a strong showing. It has strong showing in Tennessee. Bills Mafia is showing up everywhere they go. Bills Mafia might soon become one of the better travel teams. The Bills might become one of the better travel teams. We saw Sunday night the Pittsburgh Steelers fans went nuts in LA. That's really a shame for the LA Chargers that there was more, by a long shot, there were more Steeler fans there. And we know the Steelers are having a rough season as well, but more Steeler fans there than Charger fans, as the Chargers were booed coming out of this for the game yesterday. So that was a little embarrassing. But yeah, the more Cleveland loses, maybe the more Bills fans show up. Would love to see that as well. See, the game has come back for the third quarter. So again, I don't want to keep you guys on here too long, but I do appreciate you guys joining me for this live stream talking about the second half of the season. We talked about the injury report going into the second half of the season. Talk about a possible trade. I think you might see a trade for a wide receiver. You saw that we picked up another wide receiver on our practice squad. So we again have 2 wide receivers on our practice squad. Sometimes I wonder why we did that. But again, the practice squad is to develop players. If we think that our player, one of the players we could pick up who would help this team is another wide receiver, then we should definitely go for it. Just not sure why we pick up Jordan Beasley when we already just picked up Easley. We brought up Duke Williams. So I think there's a lot of activity in the wide receiver position so far. But for Buffalo, again, don't think it's going to be Stephon Diggs, maybe A.J. Green, but they're saying they're not going to trade A.J. Green. But as I'm trying to think of some wide receivers might be in the trade market, and it also depends how teams do heading into the trade deadline. Again, we have 2 weeks before the trade deadline. Who knows how teams are going to do in those 2 weeks? Maybe a team that currently thinks they're buyers at the trade deadline loses a week or 2 in a row, then all of a sudden they become sellers at the trade deadline, right? And that's how fast things change, and that's how fast that you might hear a phone call from another head coach. Maybe Brand Bean put a call in to the Minnesota Vikings about Stephon Diggs. They said not interested. They lose the next 2 weeks. All of a sudden, they are interested. Let's say they would have lost the game to the Eagles, lose the following week to whoever they play, realize that they might not be where they want to be. Let's get some draft capital to move forward. Obviously, they're stuck with Kirk Cousins, but let's see what they could do to improve that team. And that could happen anywhere, guys. So even though we might not be on the phone with that one right now, that still might come up later. So we talked about that a little bit. Another thing I want to talk about is Leslie Frazier's name has been brought up as far as some of the top candidates for head coaching jobs going into next season. Would hate to hear him talking to other teams while the season's going on. We know some teams normally fire their coach mid-season. So last thing I want to hear is Leslie Frazier. Maybe even during the playoffs, you hear sometimes of coaches looking at other places, maybe to be a head coach. I want to see Leslie Frazier finish his time here in Buffalo. Again, I wish him the best of luck if he does get a head coaching job. He's done great things here in Buffalo. We can't deny that. Does he deserve another head coaching job? Maybe. But I'm not going to say that he shouldn't take one if he's offered one. Obviously, the head coaching job anywhere is better than an assistant job or a defensive coordinator job at any other NFL team. So if it's offered to you, take it. Wish him the best of luck. But I just hope that waits until the Buffalo Bills season is completely over, whether that be playoffs or whether that be a deep playoff run, whatever the case might be. I hope that he waits to talk to teams until after that is all done. I think A.J. Green would fit well on the 49ers. I think so too. Look at that. Hey, the 49ers, talk about a surprise team, right? Everyone thought they'd be improved. I didn't think they'd be 5-0. They just beat the Rams. Rams lost 3 in a row now. So just interesting to see what happens there. So we've talked about a little bit about the trades and what I think the Buffalo Bills, our Bills fans can expect from the Buffalo Bills heading into the trade deadline. Talked again about the rest of the remaining schedule as well. So again, I think we at worst could go 7-4, which makes us 11-5 on the season. Again, giving some toss-up games to the opponent just to make it maybe less bias. But I do expect us to have some of those wins that were losses, including the game against the Eagles on the 27th, a game that I will be at. So again, I look forward to seeing you guys there. We'll be with Mario and Paul from Hashtag Sports on Saturday morning as they get ready to go to that signing, the Buffalo Bills signing. I forget exactly where that is. If you go to Hashtag Sports, obviously they'll let you know. But I look forward to seeing you all there. I look forward to hanging out with you guys at the tailgates maybe before the Eagles game. I look forward to talking to you all soon. Again, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to Believers Talk for continuing content on our Buffalo Bills. Again, the Buffalo Sabres win today as well. Go to 5-0-1. Still have not lost in regulation, so good job to them. Again, very early in their season, but it's better to start 5-0-1 than 0-5-1. So a good start doesn't mean we can't crumble again. Hopefully Ralph Kruger can prevent that from happening, unlike what we saw last season. But I look forward to talking to you all soon. Again, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. I look forward to talking to you all soon. Until I do, go Bills.